Hey guys, Jay here, and in this video today I want to show you a quick tier 17 run. This is a relatively easy map actually. Let's do it. Let's go soft on this character. It is the trigger axe. I did make a couple of changes from the previous video and I want to go through all the changes in a little bit before we go to the map. So, in terms of skill gems, I am now using volatile death. I think volatile death is probably the best skill to use here, and it is the normal version, by the way, because right now with the nerf to the corpses damage, the corpse explosion proportion of the damage for volatile death and for detonate death as well, the spell damage proportion of it is actually comparable to what we can expect to have from the corpse explosion. So I am trying to scale the spell damage more heavily here, and that is why volatile death, the normal one, is going to be better than something like volatile death of seething, even though the seething is going to explode 10 times, create 10 balls immediately. However, the limit to the maximum amount of balls that can exist at the same time is going to be 10 only. And so it is not really like ideal to have that as the main skill that we are going to trigger repeatedly here. And we are losing out potentially on a lot of spell damage from the bolts, right? I am using Volatile Death, Link to Empower, and Immolate support right here. So obviously Awaken Fire Pen, Awaken Elemental Focus, and Awaken Spell Cascade on the Squire. One part of the reason why I think Volatile Death is actually like the best skill. Let me just take off the gems and try to self-cast it to show you here basically. So, okay, let me do a quick demonstration, right? Right here, I am having Desecrate. And if I cast once, okay, let me just remove the Volatile Death MTX here as well, so it looks clearer, right? 3 balls, very simple. But if you put in Spell Cascade or Awaken Spell Cascade, the Spell Cascade is going to give you a more penalty to damage. Awaken Spell Cascade is just numerically better, but functionally you can just use normal Spell Cascade, by the way, just for your record. To 9 balls in total. To let me actually just try to calculate again. Okay, it is very hard to calculate in that area. Let me just go here, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 balls actually. So not even 9. It's 10 balls, right? And so instead of creating by default 3 balls, the spell cascade is allowing us to create 10 instead, because there is 10 corpses, right? So yeah, just a massive more multiplier if you think about it. It does give you 28% less damage in this case, but it is multiplying the amount of balls by 3.3 times. So that is more than triple. So overall, we gain just a massive amount of damage with Spell Cascade over here, right? The setup to change around Volatile Death is right now I am using... So right now, actually, I have 2 different setups. So one is going to be Rage Vortex of Berserking and Life Gain on hit. This is like the normal mapping setup that I am going to use in most tier 16. It is very comfortable. It is much faster, but in tier 17 I do farm a little bit of tier 17, and in tier 17 I do realize that Volcanic Fissure of Snaking is mechanically way superior than the Vortex of Berserking. Also because tier 17 bosses is kind of challenging as well. The mechanic of the Volcanic Fissure of Snaking being a very like auto-targeting skill, and then the boss itself is also auto-targeting, so it is super strong. It is clearing ahead of us, and I will show you a little bit in the map showcase, right? In order to create the Volatile Death, I need to create Desecrate, and using Cast on Crit and Increase Critical Strike Chance. Just by the way, this thing is 1 Divine. and it gave you a bunch of cooldown recovery. So right here, my desecrate is a 0.12 second cooldown, while the spell in the axe is 0.25. So every 2 trigger of desecrate, which means 10 corpses, and you will every 2 trigger of desecrate, you will create 1 trigger of volatile death, and so just the number is going to even out because you trigger desecrate twice as much as the volatile death, right? And here it allowed me to not use spell cascade in the desecrate itself. I actually am thinking about just switch out combustion and just put in the enhance back into the setup, so I can get 1 more eruption for Volcanic Fissure of Snaking, or in the case of Rage Vortex of Berserking, it is going to give me a massive amount of AoE as well. But this is okay. Let me just try to show you a little bit of a map run in tier 17, but I am still using the Rage Vortex setup for a little bit, and then I will switch to the Volcanic Fissure of Snaking so you can have like a basic comparison between the two. The other stuff that I am changing around is the gear. So I am using Utilized Hunger for gaining a lot of life here. What I am changing out is the 2 rings. So before in the previous video, I just showed you that I use 2 rings that are reflected mirror ring, which give like 200, around 200 life, flat life. So it is a lot of life for 2 rings. However, I want to incorporate the cover enemy in Ash into the build with Polarix Devastation. So it is another ring that I cannot have life in. And so I just switch out the life like completely, because if you see the setup here, no life unique, 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 and then the axe obviously don't get a life gain on hit anywhere. Please. So no life at all. So that left us with 1 single gear slot, which is the other ring. And we can just immediately get something that doesn't have life in here very, very easily, right? In this case, I have a bunch of resistances, mostly the chaos resistances, for Utilized Hunger to work. If we remove this one, it is a lot of life, right? So yeah, basically that is the setup. Let me just switch back the button to what I am used to, and let's go to the map. Oh shit. All right. That was bad. So the problem with the problem with Rage Vortex Berserking, if you run tier 17, is just like that. You have to get like very close and personal, and before you can actually get the Vortex of Berserking going, right? You can see when we get the balls going, the Vortex of Berserking going on our character, it is fine. It is very fine actually. But before that, we kind of need to go into like actual melee range and do a couple of attacks, 2 or 3 attacks normally. It's what needed to actually trigger the Rage Vortex in the first place. We need to have it on our character, right? So, so that potentially can be just kind of dangerous, because you do not get any sources of damage there. You do not get any sources of like recovery there. And so yeah, Rage Vortex Berserking in normal like tier 16 maps, it should be like very nice, because you can like just shield charge around with the Vortex Berserking on your character. It will feel very fast. So why do I change to this in tier 17? You will see just now, right? Okay, let me just actually show you. So, as you can see, we don't need to attack that often anyway. Just once in a while, you stop, you attack once, twice. If for ritual, you maybe just stand in one place and spam the attacks anyway. And it's just going to clear everything like 2 screens away if you want to, because the skill is just that good. And for single target, by the way, if you think this is a very, very slow attack speed skill, it is. But because of the mechanic of the skill being you can stack up multiple volcanic fissure sneaking going on at the same time, because each attack can erupt like 4 to 6 times depending on your support gems in this particular build. So yeah, it can just hit enemies multiple times because you have multiple different attacks going on at the same time. So yeah, it would just result in a massive amount of triggers anyway. I'm not sure how to like effectively calculate the damage, but I have tried out Cyclone in like normal Searing Exarch, right? Cyclone is effectively going to trigger with this current setup is effectively have the attack speed to trigger perfectly the volatile death and the desecrate. The damage is just exactly the same as if I use Volcanic Fissure of Snaking, even though the attack speed is way slower. But the amount of hits that you are going to have on the same target is going to just be the same anyway. Also, another good thing, I'm glad that the Blight show up here, so I can just basically show you that this build can do Blight really well. Right? If you notice the minimap, you will see that just by standing still in the middle, you are going to clear like screen, off screen, right? Here, there's something that is entering the screen because it has the bubble. So maybe, yeah, maybe you will need a little bit of movement in order to kill them before they can reach the blight. But you got the idea of how this build is looking at the blight normally, right? So blighted map can be quite easy to deal with, I think. I did a tier 14 blighted map just as a test, and it's super easy. I don't even need to really build any tower. Okay. Volatile Death of Confinement. That skill is a little bit worse than this skill because it does... the balls does not move. I bought it to try it out. It is okay, but it's not as strong as the normal Volatile Death, which is, which is a 20 chaos for 2120. This thing is too divine. Okay. Right. Okay, so right here, I will probably just recolor the chest. I don't think I need the 10% fire resistance from here. I'm still going able to ignite enemies anyway because I have like crit cap. This is a 2%, but without like any unconditional thing that is going on. But in POE, it's shown to be 97%, which is like crit cap, right? This Volcanic Fissure of Snaking is also superior in a sense that a lot of the debuff that you are taking from the altars is going to be an aura around your character where they add like additional damage or physical as extra something. If you kill enemy outside of that range anyway, they do not enter the danger zone for you basically. So overall, I do think that the Volcanic Fissure of Snaking is actually just a stronger skill overall. But just for map clear and like for a very nice play style while doing like tier 16 maps, Rage Vortex Berserking is very cool. At least there is that. The Volcanic Fissure of Snaking also have an additional perk that doesn't show in this particular build, which is it can be usable with the one-handed mace as well, which actually open up something that is super interesting, at least for me, which is the ability to use Searle's Masterwork, which is the unique mace. One-handed that can have up to 3 enchantments, so you can have a bunch of like very interesting combination of Runesmith enchantment with the Searle's Masterwork. You can have trigger, fire spell here, just from this one. You can have like instant mana leech, which is going to just give you like mana sustain, so you don't have to go blood magic. It can give you like a lot of cool stuff, basically. You can, if you want to, you can even have the dagger enchantment that give you infinite vow skill. So potentially you can use vow skill, like any vow skill. Like you can use vow earthquake, use slam ones. You can just walk around vow earthquaking everywhere. It is going to trigger the spell as well. So yeah, a lot of cool things that we can actually do with Volcanic Fissure of Snaking and then the Suros Masterwork. So yeah. Let me actually try to finish this map before we go. Okay, that is the boss room. I will... Yeah, this encounter is super easy. With this, you... Any encounter that you were supposed to defend one like singular place is going to be like a cakewalk. And here, the boss. Let's see. So we do have another boss there. The cool thing about this is to just okay. I do have a little bit of a recovery problem in some scenarios. But the good thing about Volcanic Fissure of Snaking is you don't need to stay close to the target, and you also don't need to aim anyway. So yeah, that is just basically how you play with Volcanic Fissure of Snaking. I think overall it's just a better setup. Overall. So let's do it one more time, because why not, right? Oh shit. So there will be the boss spawning again in the ritual, and we will have to deal with the boss again. But again, no. Okay. Never mind. Killing it once seems to be enough. Anyway, that is the tier 17 map. And yeah, setup, I already went through it, and yeah, probably the thing that I'm going to change from this particular setup is going to be changing this this gem slot into enhance. A level 4 enhance in this chest is going to give me enough quality to make the Volcanic Fissure of Snaking to 6 additional eruption, so 2 more. And yeah, if it is Rage Vortex Berserking, it is going to be a massive amount of radius. Hey, so yeah, that is everything I want to share with you in this video today. A little bit of a change in the setup. I will make sure to leave the POE in the description down below. I think this is actually a much better, well-rounded version than the previous one that I shared with the Meteor of with a Firestorm of Meteor. Right here we are using Volatile Death. I think it's just better, and overall defensively as well, this is just slightly better than what it was. But overall, because we also have a lot more damage from the Ash from the ring here, so it's just better. It's just better. You should, by the way, so cannot be ignited because I have this ring here, so I don't need to worry about ignite. And I do run Arctic Armor, so I don't have to worry about the freeze as well. If I want to, I can just have a bunch of tattoo being reduced effect of shock, and I can just take this one 60% effect of shock, and I can just have 1 2 3 4 tattoo that is reduced effect of shock, because I do have like more than overcap lightning resistances. I just don't want to remove this yet. But yeah, that is probably the things that I'm going to change for the character, but I didn't even bother to do it. Maybe I should just do it before I actually put the POE. All right. But in the previous video, anyway, there's one thing that I want to mention. In the previous video, I also talked about this one. I think the Inquisitor is going to be probably the best class if you want to have this like almost exact same setup, because you can just go through here, right? Instead of taking this, you are taking this session. You still have one big life node here, basically the exact same, except you have these potential to have this node as well. So Inquisitor is probably going to be better because it does give you the ability to ignore enemy elemental resistances, which is very, very strong, especially for harder content where enemies or bosses have like high resistances. You don't need to worry about the resistances anyway. They will always be 0, so you can invest into, you know, other things. You don't need to go for like penetration. You don't need to go for curses that reduce the enemy resistances. You don't need to worry about the exposure. A lot of things that you don't need to worry about at all, right? So yeah, that is everything I want to mention in this video. So please do leave a like if you enjoyed this content. It does help me out tremendously, and see you in the next video. Peace.